A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a dramatic escalation of U.S. foreign policy, President Donald Trump has ordered a total blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers traveling to and from Venezuela. This move, announced on Tuesday, represents a significant shift in the administration's strategy, which previously focused on combating narcotics trafficking in the Caribbean. The blockade aims to intensify pressure on the Venezuelan government, led by President Nicolas Maduro, by targeting its primary source of revenue, oil. The enforcement of this blockade remains uncertain. Questions loom over whether the U.S. Coast Guard will be deployed to intercept vessels, as was done recently, or if further military assets will be utilized. The Trump administration has already positioned thousands of troops and warships, including an aircraft carrier, in the region, signaling a robust military presence. Analysts are interpreting this blockade as a signal of Washington's intent to pursue regime change in Caracas. The rationale is clear. By choking off oil flows, which constitute nearly all of the Venezuelan government's income, the U.S. hopes to destabilize Maduro's administration. White House Chief of Staff Susan Wiles hinted at this shift in strategy during recent interviews, suggesting the administration's focus has moved beyond drug-related issues. In a post on Truth Social, Trump emphasized the seriousness of the blockade, stating, "Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. It will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before." He went on to designate the Venezuelan regime as a foreign terrorist organization, citing the theft of U.S. assets and various illegal activities as justification for the blockade. This declaration has drawn sharp criticism from Venezuelan officials, who have labeled Trump's threats as grotesque and accused the U.S. of attempting to seize the nation's mineral wealth. The Venezuelan government has vowed to take the matter to the United Nations, asserting that such actions are violations of international law. Despite the announcement of the blockade, the reality on the ground suggests that Venezuelan oil exports are already severely hampered. Following the U.S. seizure of a sanctioned oil tanker last week, traffic to and from Venezuela's oil ports has dwindled, with only Chevron's operations continuing under a U.S. Treasury exemption. The blockade may be seen as redundant, as the fear of confrontation with U.S. military forces has caused many tankers to turn back mid-journey. The implications of this blockade are dire for the Venezuelan economy. Oil sales are crucial for funding essential services, including food supplies. Economists warn of the potential for unprecedented famine if the blockade severely limits Venezuela's ability to generate revenue from oil exports. Lawmakers in the U.S. are divided on the blockade's legality and implications. Some, like Representative Gregory Meeks, have voiced concerns that the administration's true intentions are rooted in a desire for regime change rather than a genuine fight against drug trafficking. He stated, "The administration has made clear its real interest is in starting a regime change war with Venezuela and going after its oil." Representative Joaquin Castro has gone further, labeling the blockade as unquestionably an act of war and advocating for a vote on a war powers resolution to curtail the president's military actions against Venezuela. Under international law, a blockade is typically considered an act of war, raising questions about the administration's legal justification for such measures. As the situation unfolds, the international community watches closely. The potential for increased military engagement and further sanctions could escalate tensions not only between the U.S. and Venezuela, but also within the broader geopolitical landscape. The Trump administration's aggressive stance is likely to provoke a range of responses from allies and adversaries alike, potentially reshaping U.S.-Latin America relations for years to come. In conclusion, President Trump's blockade on Venezuelan oil tankers represents a significant and controversial chapter in U.S. foreign policy. It underscores the administration's willingness to leverage military might and economic sanctions in pursuit of regime change, raising profound ethical and legal questions about the implications for both Venezuela and the United States. As the blockade takes effect, the world will be watching to see how this bold strategy unfolds and its impact on the already tumultuous situation in Venezuela. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.